That was Whitney Houston, I'm Your Baby Tonight. When I was growing up, I remember they didn't even have summer blockbusters until the movie Jaws. And I watched Jaws, and it horrified me so bad I was afraid to take a bath, let alone to get into the ocean. And I remember Jaws, and I remember how there had been shark attacks. And I remember how the city government decided that they were going to keep it quiet because they didn't want to lose money. It was about the summer coming in, and the businesses needed that influx of cash, and they needed the money. And I remember one horrific scene when a little boy was eaten by the shark, and the mother of that little boy came up to Chief Brody and slapped him and said, "You knew and you said nothing about it." Because knowing something and not warning people gets you that. Usually you're not just slapped in the face by a widow, you're slapped with fines. You're slapped with losing your job. You're slapped with sometimes prison. Because there is a responsibility, especially when you're in a position of authority and you have information that it could be potentially, if not given out, detrimental to the public. You'll see that a large settlement was given to the residents of Flint because the governor of that state did know or should have known what was going on and the harm that it could cause. There are companies now that have to pay exorbitant amounts of money because they did know or should have known. We have an executive right now who gave out opiates. An executive, the CEO of that corporation is now, and the Purdue Corporation is now in prison right now because he did know or should have known. They kept that information and it caused great bodily harm. So imagine right now the President of the United States telling Bob Woodward that he did know that the virus was airborne, that he did know that not only did it affect old people, but it affected young people, that he did know that it was tough, and he also downplayed it. He was Chief Brody. He basically let people get into the ocean knowing there was a dangerous shark around. And he says he did it. He says he did it because he didn't want to cause a panic. His entire election strategy is to cause panic. What do you think he's talking about when there's a plane full of thugs that are coming? What about when they were a caravan of immigrants? What about I'm gonna protect you? What about these images of Joe Biden American? Those are all to stoke fear so he can capitalize on it. Donald Trump did what you would allow your doctor to do, what you wouldn't allow businesses to do, what you wouldn't allow corporations to do. Because if you have information that you know that there's going to be detriment caused to the public at large, and you withhold that information, you're about to account for it. Not only sometimes you lose your livelihood, but very often you lose your freedom. Right now, the President of the United States of America let a reporter know that he knew information that could cause great detriment to the American people. He knew it and he kept it from them. Not only did he keep it from them, he lied about it. He said it would go away. He said it was fine. He said that even as recently as a couple of weeks ago, he is forcing children to go back to school because it's fine. They have great immune system. 600,000 children have gotten it now. We just had two right now. Children are getting this at exorbitant rates. They can't even go to school now. 6.2 million people have been infected with this, and almost 200,000 people are dead. And you knew. You knew. There's no explaining it away. You don't get to say anything different. You knew, and for political purposes, you kept it to yourself. Herman Cain's family should sue you because you said specifically it was safe. And not only did you say it was safe, you had a rally knowing it was airborne, telling people not to wear masks. As recently as a couple of days ago, you tried to tell a reporter to take his mask off. You knew it was airborne. You knew that people were dying. You once famously said you could kill somebody you shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and not lose any of your supporters. So apparently that's hundreds of thousands of Americans that you could do that to. Right now, if you're a chief of a small Nantucket town and a shark runs rapid, you are held accountable. How less so should the President of the United States? That was an imaginary Jaws that caused this destruction. Now we have a virus and a president who is willfully turning away while Americans are dying, while our economy is in shambles. And his account is November 3rd. That's a little note from the GED section. We got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.